Day 34 of 100 Days of Code as I'm learning the Python programming language. This video is to track my progress and to hold myself accountable. Yesterday, I took some time to run a GET request on a URL where I was able to access the header and look at some of the metadata of that header. Today, I'm going to focus on accessing the body of the URL, looking at the metadata, and then also looking at how JSON formats when we use the JSON module. So I'm in my Kali Linux VM, and I'm going to go ahead and access the folder in which I'm creating this file in. So I'll do so by CDing to the desktop. And I created it in request folder, so I'll go ahead and do that. You can see when I list it out, I have my day 33 listed there. So I'm going to go ahead and run my Jupyter notebook, and this will redirect me and open up a web browser with my Jupyter notebook in it. In order to do this, if you refer to day 33, I installed the Jupyter notebook and made sure it was updated, and then I ran this. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new Python 3 file. I'll title this file day 34. So day 34, triggering HTTP requests. I'm going to start by actually going to day 33 and grabbing the import. So day 34, I can do the same here. The request module allows me to make the GET request or the whatever request that I'm going to be making for the HTTP request. And then from pprint, import pprint. Pprint stands for pretty print, and it pretty much just formats data in a more readable way. And then I'm going to import JSON because I'm going to be accessing it in JSON format. So if I run this, that will actually just trigger it to work. Now I accessed the header yesterday. I'm going to access the body, and the body is actually accessible in the text field, and we can access that by running a R. So if I pull in from day 33, this variable that I set to perform the GET request for this URL, I'll need that. I'll throw that in here first, and then I could do the r underscore get.txt, text. If I run that, you can see this is a lot of information, and this is formatted in a key value pair format. However, it's not as human readable as JSON would be. So that's what I'm going to do. So if I go ahead and run another line of code, I'm going to call this one body because it is the body. You can call it data or whatever, JSON, because I want it in JSON format. It's the method that I'm going to use to parse JSON string and convert it into a Python dictionary. And then I'll just pull my underscore get.txt. If I go ahead and print, I can do it on the next line or the same one. And I'm going to use pprint because it's pretty print and grab that variable. You can see here that this parses my data and it's in a JSON format. So this is all the data from that URL parsed out from the body of that address. And this data is actually from multiple sources. And this is metadata. The humidity for this contribution, they said 72, the ID, the max temp, the min temp. So it gives all of that information. And again, this is from multiple sources. You can also check if the URL redirects you to like another URL address, and you would do so by using r underscore get because that's the variable that we assigned for that GET request for that URL. And is redirect would be the function that you're using. And when you run this, it tells me that it's false, which indicates that it was not redirecting me from this URL to another URL address. That's a little bit about how you would trigger HTTP requests, specifically focusing on the body of that URL and JSON formatting.